Glass breaks as we come back in so that we can say hello to Austin Price, covering Tennessee football and recruiting for Volquest.com, joining us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. And Austin, earlier this week, Tennessee picked up a commitment from a highly touted edge rusher, Jordan Ross from Birmingham. Tennessee's recruited him heavily for quite a while. Tell us about the latest commitment for Tennessee.
Yeah, super long defensive lineman, can play on the edge, has enough, I think size that if he could, if he needed to, he could bump inside. But really, I think an edge / strong side defensive end is what you're getting. But again, he's 6'5", he's 225 pounds. Someone who's going to put on 20 pounds, and it won't change who he is and how he plays. And again, I think a real high upside player in Jordan Ross.
How much has this been a priority for Tennessee staff, getting players up front on defense, guys like Jordan Ross, guys they've already signed in the last couple of years, if you want to add them to the conversation for what they want to be defensively?
Well, I mean, if you look at Tennessee's track record the last 15 years, it was like Derek Barnett, and then there was a few guys. Kurt Maggitt flashed at times, Tongbo flashed for a game or two. Corey Vereen had a few nice plays, but Tennessee wasn't real deep at the edge spot, Josh. And, you look at what they've done in just the last three classes, it's been really impressive. And whether it be James Pierce and Josh Josephs, Caleb Herring and Sean Davion Bradley, this class, what they've been able to do, with a guy like Jordan Ross. Tennessee's obviously a major player for Danny Okoye out of the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. So, that's obviously a position and a point of emphasis is to get people who can get to the quarterback. And, I think it definitely helps Tennessee's case this year if James Pierce and Josh Josephs, or even for that matter, an older guy like Roman Harrison plays really, really well.
How close was it, Austin, with Tennessee? Maybe Florida or another surprise team, maybe laying in the weeds for Jordan Ross picking Tennessee over those teams? How close was it?
Well, I think you always have to be cognizant when you pull a high-end guy out of the state of Alabama that the home state schools could come back in here late. You look at Sylvester Smith last year. Auburn came in late. They were able to flip, the safety, from Alabama away from Tennessee back to staying in state. And, in the NIL era, I think you have to be cognizant of just about anybody, but really the home state schools. So, I think this one's one you'll have to continue to recruit. I don't think it's just some lay down. He's going to be in the class. But, you'd rather be playing from ahead than from behind. And right now Tennessee's playing from ahead with the fact that he is committed to Tennessee.
Is there a comparison that you have heard with Jordan Ross or maybe someone that played at UT in the past or maybe someone that plays at the pro level, maybe one of his skill sets, speed or ability to bend off the edge? Have you heard any comparisons that stood out to you?
No, not really comparison-wise. Just a lot of praise for his length, long arms, super tall, and does have good bend. So, no comparisons as pertaining to anybody that played in the pros or played here at Tennessee.
Austin Price is with us, Volquest.com, each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. And Jordan Ross would be a player to help starting in 2024 and beyond. What do you hear about that position? Guys you mentioned earlier that have been signed and now are on campus trying to help replace Byron Young. So either veterans or newcomers. What do you hear about guys on the edge after a few weeks of now of fall practice?
Well, I've continued to hear Roman Harrison has had a really strong fall camp. Again, a guy that's older, been in the program, sees this as his moment, and we'll see if that parlays into a successful season. James Pierce and Josh Josephs continue to flash. You need them to do more than flash, though. You need them to be consistent, and play that way. And then, from a freshman standpoint, Sean Davion Bradley can really move coming off the edge. He still needs to put on some weight and some strength. The guy that I think is most likely to play that's a freshman coming off the edge would be Caleb Herring, who, again, has continued to, have a really nice fall camp.
Well, what's the latest on Cooper Mays and kind of how he is coming along?
Well, with Cooper, I mean, he's about 2 weeks out of surgery, and depending on the length of time it takes to recover from a hernia deal, I mean, this could be 4 weeks, which puts him back in around 2 weeks, which puts him back after the opener, or closer to 6 weeks. So, I think the the biggest thing is, just how is he progressing? I don't think he'll be available for that game against Virginia, but, we'll see after that. Austin Peay would probably be the first time I think that it would be an option, but most likely Gainesville is probably the date. If all things go well, you'll probably see Cooper Mays.
So in the meantime, Ollie Lane would be your expectation at center. Is that right? And where would things stand competition-wise at left guard, as Ollie affects the left guard position if he's at center, and then right tackle? So I guess the latest on the offensive line with those camp battles they've had the last 3 weeks.
Basically, you want me to run down left tackle to right tackle.
You can go quickly through John Campbell Jr. at left tackle and Javontes at right guard, but everything else is kind of out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Ollie Lane will likely get the start at center against Virginia. Dane Davis has been practicing there some. Bison Lang as well. Addison Nichols not doing as much at center anymore. He's been, floating between guard and tackle the last couple of weeks. So the left guard spot, I think, is going to be Andre Keurig. And then after that, Jackson Lampley. After that, Addison Nichols. Those kind of, guys are fighting out with him for that spot. Right tackle, I would say it's J.J. Crawford, then Gerald Mincy and Dane Davis. Again, Davis is that guy that kind of like floats around. He can play right tackle. He's obviously been working some at center, which is kind of a new development. And, that's kind of where they're at as we have 10 days left.
So if Josh Heupel and Glenn Ellerby were to share a bottle of truth serum, where do you think their confidence level is versus concern of the offensive line until Cooper gets back, or even when he gets back?
I think there's probably, I wouldn't say concern. I would say that they are, very, very aware that, there are some potential hiccups there, especially with the ability to go fast. Ollie, I think, gives Tennessee the best ability to continue to play at the pace you want to play. But again, this is a new position for him. And so, I think the biggest thing is not necessarily the tempo. It's just the ability to get the snap back to Joe. And, that's something they struggle with early in fall camp. But once Ollie kind of found his way to center with Cooper out, they've been better in that regard. So, I think there is, some very, very much awareness there of that there could be some hiccups. But, you play Virginia, not too tough of an opener, one Tennessee should be able to take care of. And then obviously Austin Peay. So you've got a couple of games to, figure it out before you have to go to Gainesville, which obviously, no matter how bad Florida is, Tennessee's not won there since 2003. Jason Swain was a, freshman at Tennessee. I was at Tennessee. Josh, you were at Tennessee. We were all in school.
And now we're all old. Yes.
For a long time, buddy.
Wow. AP, what's your thoughts on the Thompson Bowling Arena at Food City Center?
Yeah, listen, I get the gnashing of teeth. It's kind of like, Jason, do you say, hey, did you see that tweet, or do you see that X? Like, people still say Twitter. They still say tweet. People are still going to call it Thompson Bowling Arena. They're still going to call it TBA. And the fact that it's still part of the name makes that easy as well. So, if Tennessee can benefit and Food City gets the rub, I think this is a win-win for everybody. I think it's a much about nothing for the people that are gnashing of the teeth. I don't believe Tennessee's going to sell the naming rights to Neyland Stadium. Now, could I be wrong? Sure. I've been wrong plenty of times in my life. But I think they're very aware and cognizant of that. I think anything else is on the table. Lindsey Nelson Stadium, obviously Thompson Bowling Arena now. I think you'll see some corporate partners, being the title sponsors of stadiums and such. But I think Neyland is one that I don't think you'll have to worry about, in my opinion. So, I just think ultimately everybody's still gonna call it the Tommy Bowl, TBA, whatever you want to call it. They're gonna continue to call it that, because just like they changed the name of Twitter to X, and I'm still calling it Twitter.
I'm still calling it Twitter too. I'm surprised there has been any mashing or gnashing of teeth with this change, because Danny White. You look at the baseball stadium, almost $100 million renovation that's coming up for Tennessee, and then the way Danny White handled the whole Tony Elliott thing. I didn't think Danny White could do anything wrong. I'm surprised anyone have an issue with these latest changes that's going to bring more money into the athletic program and handle some much-needed renovation there at Thompson-Boling Arena.
I think more than anything, people just don't like change. I think change is something that people, if they can stay away from, they want to stay away from it. And so, older traditionalists aren't going to like putting a corporate sponsor on there. But at the same time, I think that's the way of the world. And if you can, make $20 million in the process, and Food City gets a little bit of rub from it, and to me, it's a win-win for everybody. I don't think, again, it's not like that it's no longer Thompson-Boling Arena. It's still Thompson-Boling Arena at the Food City Center.
Yep.
It's just adding extra layer to it.
Yep.
Austin Price every week, every day, giving you great coverage of Tennessee football and recruiting at VolQuest.com, and every week here on the show, keeping us up to date thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Design, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. They want to be your jeweler there at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, great information. Appreciated it as always. Great segment, other than reminding everybody that we are now old. So appreciate the time, and next week when we talk, it's officially game week for Tennessee.
That's right. I'll talk to you boys next week.
Thanks, Austin. Austin joining us on the Stanley Fencing and Gates Hotline. Austin's got naming rights. Rick Terry Jewelry Designs each week right here.
That's right. Austin is a pretty big deal. What stood out is Tennessee continuing to recruit Jordan Ross, just like you have to recruit basically everybody else that you have committed. I mean, you got to recruit the guys that's on your roster now in the day of NIL. So no surprise there, but it certainly stood out.
We ran some footage, by the way, so if you're listening, awesome, appreciate it. You can check out on the Sports Animal YouTube page, go back and watch the interview. We ran some footage of Ross while Austin was talking about him. There are a couple of plays in there. One,
you see it?
He's on one end.
You see it?
And runs down the running back on the other side of the field. I don't even know if he got positive yardage on the play. And another play where he runs around, gets the quarterback, strip sack, finds the football, falls on it, gets it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah, Austin may either not have a comparison because he doesn't feel comfortable, or maybe one doesn't come to mind yet. But when I saw his ability to chase down the ball carrier behind line of scrimmage, I thought about Nolan Smith of Georgia.
Yeah, there was a play last week in a preseason game where he made a play. Like, come on now.
Yeah, like if Jordan Ross can get bigger, like Nolan Smith is right now,
yeah,
and is still able to run with that type of speed and that type of athleticism and quickness, then watch out. But yeah, that's the first thing that jumped out of the video for me was how great his closing speed is. Again, he's a guy who runs a 4.6 40 and jumps a 35-inch vertical, so he's explosive.
It's 6.